Welcome back to the channel. This is the third video, and if you've seen the other videos, you'll know that I was primarily uh, gambling, uh, to put it lightly. We were on side pot, fooling around, but today we're going to take a step back from that to something a little more personal for me. Um, you probably don't know this because none of you know me, but I have played Gaelic football and hurling my entire life. I've been refereeing for about 6 years now, um, playing at a pretty high level out here in America. So while the American Gaelic football season hasn't kicked off yet, the season in Ireland is in full swing already. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Football League matchups for the upcoming week, which is game week 3, bar 1. We'll get to that later. For divisions 1 and 2, and I'll be giving my predictions for these games. So let's just hop right into it. We're only going to be focusing on the football today, so we're going to be making predictions for the Kerry Donegal game that got rescheduled from last week due to the storm, and then all of week three's Division 1, Division 2 games. So I already see some heaters in there. Derry Galway, banger right off the bat, rematch from the 2022 semifinal. You've got Down Meath, Tailteann Cup rematch from 2023. Mayo Tyrone, always a good matchup. They've been running parallel for years in the championship. Met up in 2021, the final, and God, what was it, 2015? They were in a semifinal together. I was actually at that game. And then, you got your classics, Kerry, Dublin. Who doesn't love to see that? It's a different atmosphere in the league than it is in the championship. But still, two high caliber squads going up against each other. And then good old Northern football, you got Donegal Armagh, rematch of the last year's Ulster final that, of course, went to penalties. So we've got a heater of a week coming up. And I guess we'll get right into it, starting off with the week 2 game that's got rescheduled to 2 days from now when I'm going to be uploading. It's going to be on Saturday, February 8th, Kerry and Donegal. Now, I've only seen one Donegal game and only highlights from the two Kerry games, but I'll tell you what, Oisin Gallen is the real deal. Full forward for Donegal. He is the second coming of Michael Murphy. Good, strong off both feet. He's a big boy. That man is huge, and he could pop him over from wherever. Kerry, the Cliffords have made limited appearances so far in the league, and from what I've seen, I mean they are sitting third. Division One's tight right now because almost every team has a win and a loss because it's so competitive. They're sitting third right now with a win at Derry. But again, because this is only the second week technically, there's so much yet to be seen from both squads. Donegal sitting second, good win against Dublin. Putting over 20 points, and Kerry putting past five, five goals past the Derry keeper. So I'm interested to see how this one goes. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I love my Northern football. So I'm going to go Donegal with this one. Let's say 121 to 214. So that'll be a 4-point win for Kerry if I'm doing my maths right. On to the real week 3 games. This is going to be next Saturday. Derry Galway, as I said before, rematch from the 2022 semifinal, 2022. That was pitiful football, if you remember. It was 2-4 to 1-8, something like that. Just pitiful. Derry's in a bit of a rut right now. They're sitting tied bottom of Division 1 with 2 losses. A loss at home against Kerry and at Tyrone. Tyrone match was abysmal. Not to mention their field hasn't even been lined out properly. If you know, you know. That little green line around the arc, new 40-meter arc, either someone balls that up on their own or I really can't explain it. But on the other hand, Galway sitting top of Division 1, undefeated so far, 2 wins, strong win at Mayo, I believe it was 10 points, and hosting Armagh. That Armagh game was tight, and you see some weaknesses in Galway's ability to get back, but you see a lot of strength in their ability to push forward. So it kind of evens out. But with these new rules coming in this year, you need to be fit both ways. You need to be able to get back and also push forward. With numbers and strength, it's it's going to be an interesting year for sure. I am going to go with Galway just because Derry's football, even by Northern football standards, is so miserable to watch. It's absolutely terrible. I'm going to say Galway 116, Derry 1-8 because they have Derry has the ability to pop points over and sneak in a few goals. They've got an all-star lineup and they are not utilizing it because they've been passing around the back since, well, not anymore since Rory Gallagher left, but since Rory Gallagher started, they climbed up the leagues by passing around the back, 15 men behind the ball. And it's been eliminated this year, and they're kind of stranded. They don't have anything to rely on. Their old reliable's gone. So I think Galway's going to take this one probably by 8 points. Let's move on. Here's the heater. You've got Dublin, you got Kerry. Uh, Dublin's also in a little bit of a rut. It's a transition period. Desi Farrell's been in there this is his fourth year now, and he's only got one All-Ireland to show for it. I know that's, by other county standards, that's an incredible feat, but coming off Jim Gavin's six in a row, it's starting to look like Desi Farrell's in the hot seat a little bit. I know it's still week three of the league. It's still very early on in the year, but when you're losing at Donegal and taking it to the end against a somewhat weak Mayo team, questions start to be asked. You know what I mean? And Kerry, it depends on how this game in 2 days goes against Donegal, this rescheduled game. They could either be tied first with Galway or still sitting in third place, tied with everyone from fourth to seventh. So I'm gonna go Kerry for this one. Dublin's in a transition period, and it's a great transition period by other county standards, like I said. But still, it's the changing of the guard. You got guys like uh, Kieran Kilkenny and Brian Fenton not producing at the level they used to. I know Brian Fenton should have been an all-star last year. He might have been. I can't remember. But you got new guys coming in and they're still trying to learn the system, and Desi Farrell's trying to still input his own system into Dublin, trying to replace what Jim Gavin left him. So it's going to be an interesting match. I'll say Kerry 20 points, Dublin 18. It's going to be a tight one. I still think Kerry has the firepower to push it over the line at the end. Now we move into our first Division Two match. We've got Cork and Westmeath. Cork sitting fourth, mediocre start to the league. You have a win hosting Meath, again a weak Meath squad, and one loss, a heartbreaker at Down. Uh, not much to say for this Cork team. No more Luke O'Donovan, no more what was his name, Ian Mullen. It's it's going to be tough. This league, I'd say they'd be happy with a fourth place finish. I don't think they're pushing for promotion to Division One yet. They're just not there yet. But they also are way too high a caliber to drop down to Division Three. Westmeath, on the other hand, are in serious trouble. Seventh place, two losses, hosting Louth. To be fair, Louth is a strong side this year. I'd be surprised they didn't go to the Leinster final. And then also hosting Monaghan. That's the real kicker. Monaghan is super weak this year, and Westmeath should have put them. I think Cork takes this one just because these have been ultra disappointing losses for Westmeath. And Cork still is a good squad. They should be in the Munster final this year. There's really no competition other than Kerry, obviously. I think they might be meeting in the semi-final. I'm not too certain on that. But Cork should have really no trouble against Westmeath here. And now on to the final Division Two game of Saturday, the 15th, and it's my own county Down hosting Meath. Down are in sixth. A win against Cork, like I said, off a free 1 point by the skin of their teeth. They made that happen. And obviously, a terrible loss to Roscommon. But that's how you see these new rules in effect. Down we're up by 7 points. Roscommon won by 7 points. That's a 14-point swing. And I understand these new rules are tough to learn, tough to coach, and tough to master. There should be no reason why you let a 7 point lead slip, never mind allow a 14-point swing. Because Down's got the firepower. Pat Avern, the McGills, the McGinnises. They've got players there who could take them to an Ulster final. They just have to be utilized right. Meath, on the other hand, they're lucky to be in third purely on point difference. A loss at Cork, and that's a poor loss as well. And a win against Cavan, and that's a 10-point win. That's a solid win for them. But they're in the same boat as Cork. I think they'd be happy with a 4th, 5th place finish. I'm going to take Down. This is partially biased, but I just think Down's got the firepower at home. They're, I wouldn't say they're ready for promotion. I think they're ready for making waves in Division Two. And also, let's not forget, they've secured All Ireland Series football for this year. So they've at least got 4 games in the championship. So they're looking forward to that. They're going to make sure this league counts, do the best they can, and hopefully get a win on Saturday the 15th. Now moving on to Sunday the 16th, and we're back to Division One, Mayo Tyrone. Like I said before, these two teams have ran parallel in the championship for years. Only really met in significant games 2 or 3 years in a decade span. Obviously, Tyrone came out on top in 2021. That was Mayo's year. I'm not going to harp on the past because, there's nothing easier than laying into a Mayo fan in the county. It's been a tough time for them, but this league campaign is worse than I ever imagined for Mayo. 8th place, 2 losses at Dublin. Obviously, playing at Croker is tough, especially when it's the league opener. You're playing Dublin, but then hosting Galway. I understand Galway's All Ireland finalists. I understand they have firepower. Home games you have to win. I said it before, I'll say it again. You have to win your home games and hopefully squeak out a couple results away and on neutral ground if you want to push for promotion. Losing at home, I don't care to who, to what, whenever. You have to win your games at home. Now Mayo is hosting Tyrone on the 16th, but Tyrone's done fairly well. They've hosted Derry and won, and they've lost to Armagh. That was a tough game because the weather was terrible. You saw that field was rutted up, people taking chunks out of it. But I think they really should have done better against Armagh because they see each other so often in the championship. I'd I'm still gonna go with my northern bias. I'm going for Tyrone, but this is a ultra tight game. I'm gonna say 113 to 112 because both these teams have work to do to catch up to the rest of the pack in Division One. Mayo needs this win a lot more than Tyrone, but I think Tyrone barely squeaks by. Moving on to another ultra banger from week 3. Donegal hosting Armagh on Sunday the 16th. Donegal, depending on how they do against Kerry, they could either be tied with Galway at first or in third, like I said, with the rest of the pack. It's the same situation. There's 6 teams in Division 1 that all have 2 points, a win and a loss. And that's where it gets scary because you can see teams jumping from 7th to 2nd, and you can see teams falling from 2nd to 7th, just depending on how the rest of the league does. Now, big win, a host in Dublin. Night game, that when you get the Dubs away from home, you have them rattled. And I I like Donegal this year. I favor them maybe a final appearance. I'd say they're definitely favorites for Ulster, obviously, because they won last year. But I'd say they'd be favored to win a semi-final, maybe push for an All Ireland final. First time appearing in one since 2013. That would be a big achievement, you know. And Jimmy's back and Jimmy is winning matches. And Jimmy's got a system that is working in this new era of rules. On the other hand, Armagh, All Ireland champions, there is hardly anything bad to say about them. They're going to have Niall Grimley back from his red card. Reno O'Neill yet to make an appearance. Maybe they're saving him for championship. Who knows? Rory Grugan has held them steady. Barry McCambridge held them steady. They have so much potential there. Potential for even a two-peat, you know? But they have to work on discipline. That's bottom line. You saw it in the semifinal against Galway in 2022. Discipline is what hurts Armagh. With that being said, I think it's a draw. I know I'm going to get. I doubt I'm going to get stick for this because a lot of you viewers probably don't know what Gaelic football is. This is mainly appealing to an Irish audience. A big win against Tyrone from Armagh and a tough loss at Galway in terrible conditions, mind you. Against keep in mind these Armagh was an All Ireland champion last year. Donegal Ulster champion. Donegal should have been in the All Ireland final against Armagh. Very unlucky that some shots didn't go their way. Kieran Thompson had a belter of a game in the semi-final against Kerry, or no, against Galway. They really should have done it. But with that being said, I still think it's a draw. They are so evenly matched. I'd be surprised if they weren't in an Ulster final together this year. Now moving on, we're getting into the don't want to give shit to any county. We're getting into the lower caliber of games for this weekend of the 15th. Still, Cavan hosting Louth. Cavan's been poor, sitting eighth, two losses, hosting Monaghan and at Meath. I can't give him shtick too much because Cavan won an Ulster final 5 years ago. Mind you, COVID year, whatever. They still have the talent there. They just haven't shown it yet in this league campaign. Louth, on the other hand, a win at Westmeath. Leinster teams are tough to play away. You know what I mean? A loss for Roscommon hosting them. They were unlucky for that not to go their way. Terrible wind conditions and poor lighting as well. I don't know if anyone else saw that. Poor lighting. They were playing. I don't even know what you call that ground. It was like 100-seater. You know what I mean? The smallest ground I've ever seen a competitive intercounty football match played at. What's his name? Sam Mulroy. I'd be surprised if he wasn't an all-star this year. The highest caliber of footballer I've seen out of a non-Dublin Leinster team, probably in my life. I'm giving this one to Louth because they have the firepower there. They've got the fifth highest scorer in the championship up until week eight, up until week three, in Sam Mulroy, 13 points. Obviously, some of them are for threes, but he's putting them over, and he has the power to go for 2 pointers day in and day out. And I'd say they are at a little bit of a setback right now, tripped at the second hurdle, hosts in Roscommon, but I'd say they'd still be pushing for promotion, and I think they're ready for it. Ger Brennan is an incredible manager. They've got the backing of as many people as you can rise from your beds in Louth. They're in full support. They made an All Ireland quarter final last year. Donegal were the better team, mind you, but they beat Cork to get there, and Cork was not an easy team to play last year. Now I'm not going to keep battering on Cavan. They need to do better. Simple as sitting eighth. They got to pick themselves up, and you do not want to see Cavan in Division Three because other than that, they're going to bounce from Division Three back up to Division Two, and they're going to be in that little purgatory where you can't stay in the higher division, and you're also way too good for the lower division. You're going to be bounced back and forth like Norwich in the Premier League, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving on to the last Division Two game of the weekend. This is 10 days from now. so I'm getting my predictions in well and early. We got Roscommon hosting Monaghan, and Roscommon and Monaghan are tied first in Division Two. This is a shocker because I thought Monaghan were going to be terrible. Call me a casual. I thought Monaghan, after Connor McManus retired, hang up the boots, after Rory Began went frolicking around in America with the NFL, I would have swore up and down the wall that Monaghan were going to get relegated. Obviously, I've been proven wrong. They've got two wins at Cavan and hosting Westmeath. Again, Westmeath, tough squad, just in a tough spot. I, I was obviously hurt by the down loss to Roscommon because I felt Roscommon were on the ropes. They really shouldn't have been able to come back. But it's that comeback ability that gets you into first place in Division Two and pushing for promotion. You know, a win hosting down and a win at Louth in tough conditions at Louth. I'm going to give this one to Roscommon. They should be winning Division Two this year. And then from position two to position six, it's an absolute toss up. Obviously, I'm pulling for Down to get promoted. But then again, here's the thing: do I want Down to be promoted when they're not ready and then just be bounced right back down to Division Two with their tails between their legs? Or do I want them to feel the heartbreak of barely missing out on promotion, a third or fourth place finish tight up top, and then go and build up next year, win the whole thing next year, push for Ulster, push for All Ireland Series, Now, this, you might not have known half of what I was talking about in this video. I don't expect you to, but I was just doing this for myself and I like waffling. I love talking about Gaelic football. I love talking about basketball, American football, soccer, literally any sport. I could find a topic to talk about and just yammer on and on and on about it. And I really enjoyed making this video because the preparation that went into it was tireless, but I also got to do my research. I got to look into squads that I hadn't looked into in a year. What's changed, what's remained constant. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of this kind of stuff, weekly predictions. I'm probably going to end up doing weekly predictions for the National League football only because hurling, I do play it, but it's it's a foreign. I'd be out of my depth talking about All Ireland hurling simply because it's at a totally different level. There's so many more factors in play. But definitely going to stick with the football, doing predictions probably weekly. I'm looking forward to these videos now because this was great. Um, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you'd like. And I'll see you on the next video. Adios.